I was really struck by the fact that over 50% of falls are preventable. And they're preventable because you have the ability to build your strength and your balance back at any age. And that's the best way you can actually reduce your risk of falling.
Welcome to Zestful Aging, where I interview thoughtful, inspiring, and influential guests who are creating their legacies and contributing to the greater good. I'm your host, Nicole Christina, psychotherapist and fellow Zestful Ager. And this podcast is my way of bringing some light into the world, which is feeling pretty dark and broken right now. Our music is courtesy of Judy Banker, who was a previous guest on Zestful Aging. And Judy is also an eating disorder treatment specialist who supervised me in Ann Arbor in the early 90s. Little did I know that 20 years later, we would collaborate on a very different kind of project. So you can find out more about Judy on judybanker.com. So interesting talking to Amanda Rees. This is a woman who is really running on both of her brain lobes. She's such a compassionate woman and really developed some of these ideas for Bold because of her loving relationship with her grandmother and her appreciation for aging. But she has the science background and has done such a beautiful job researching such a comprehensive way what really addresses the problem of falling and the loss of balance as we age. I know that everyone is feeling really stressed and anxious right now. We're all unsettled and feel out of control. So I created a free download for you for maintaining mental health based on my 30 years as a psychotherapist. Just go to zestfulaging.com and it is all yours. Well, as usual, I've got my little loyal Jack Russell Sparky. He's got his mom haircut now. He's right by my side, so let's begin. We have a really great interview for you today. We're going to be speaking with Amanda Rees, and she is the co-founder and CEO of Bold. It's a health and fitness technology company that creates online exercise programs for aging well, particularly focusing on balance, which is crucial in the later years. And I just discovered that 1 in 3 individuals over 65 experience a fall. And this, of course, has great implications for healthcare and aging in general. Amanda is a yoga and Tai Chi instructor who specializes in working with older adults and those with mobility limitations. She studied engineering and dance at Princeton, so she's working with both sides of her brain. Bold has raised venture capital from leading Silicon Valley investors and has been highlighted in Forbes and the New York Times. Welcome to the show, Amanda.
Hey, Nicole. Thanks so much for having me.
I'm delighted. You have a lot to share today, and I'd like to start, if it's okay with you, just describing the Bold story. And I know we've talked about part of the story is the fact that you are a caregiver.
Yes. So about 7 years ago, I moved in with my grandmother, who was in her late 80s at the time, and she had been living alone in her house and had just stopped being able to drive. And when I first moved in, it was kind of this nice experience of I was still in my 20s and she was in her 80s. And it was a really great way for us to spend time together, build our relationship, but also I think help her with some of her loneliness, help her with errands, getting to doctor's appointments. And it was a really powerful experience for me. But over those 7 years, I think like many caregivers, things change and evolve and not always for the best. And so we had experienced, my grandmother had started falling while I was away at work when she was out gardening and hitting her head. She was later diagnosed with stage 4 cancer and dementia. And so throughout that experience, I think, the ups and the downs and the beauty of it and the sadness that comes with it, I became really interested in my own aging experience. I think I thought a lot about what do I want my life to look like as I age, and what are the things I can do to take control or to have some agency in that process. And so I became really excited about this idea about exercising for my 100-year-old self. And part of that is because I was a dancer, and I teach yoga and Tai Chi, and became really interested in working with older adults through yoga and Tai Chi. But also thinking about, there's so much you can do to improve your outcome as your health outcomes as you age, and exercise is so critical for that. And I think of all the types of exercises you can do, balance is really at the core. And so, as I was teaching, as I was living with my grandmother, I started to dig into the research. I love reading the research on these topics. And I was really struck by the fact that over 50% of falls are preventable. And they're preventable because you have the ability to build your strength and your balance back at any age. And that's the best way you can actually reduce your risk of falling. And so I started digging into it, and there's been tons of literature around the types of exercises that are most effective, about how often you should do them. And yet nothing existed online. And so really the genesis of Bold was me thinking, gosh, there's so much good research. How do you make it easy for people to take advantage of what we know is possible, and what we know it can be most effective, and increase access to that, and also make it fun? So that's really sort of how we came to the idea of starting Bold.
That's really a lot of stuff going on. You know what? I have maybe a question that's a little silly, but what are all the pieces that control balance? I mean, I'm just trying to imagine. I'm guessing some of it's inner ear, some of it's core strength, but
yes.
I really don't know. Could you talk a little bit about what helps us stay balanced, at what starts going wrong when we can't balance?
Yes, so you're right. There's a lot of components in the system. Having your eyes checked regularly is important so that you can see and navigate your environment. Inner ear can definitely affect your balance. What Bold focuses on most is the musculoskeletal system. So lower body strength and balance. And I think, your balance can start changing as young as your 30s. And you can have excellent balance, and you can lose some balance, and you can build it back. But for example, a common thing is people often talk about walking it's a wonderful way to stay active. I go on walks every day, but walking, you're really only moving in one direction. You're moving forwards, and you're not really practicing stepping sideways, moving backwards, multitasking, turning to talk to someone or react to a ball or a person or a dog in different directions. And so often when you think about falls that happen that may feel like an accident, it's when, something comes up and knocks you from the side, and you haven't really trained that reflex to step sideways and recover your balance. And so
I see. That's really interesting. That I would not have thought of. My idea was like, if you sort of teach your brain to feel your feet on the ground, and you have some muscle, then that would kind of do what you needed to do. But what you're saying is it's more complicated than that.
Yes, I think, proprioception or having good sense of your feet in the ground and knowing where your body is in space is an element. But I think what's most common and where exercise can be really helpful is Tai Chi, for example. You think about slow movements where you're shifting your weight from one position to another, and you're in control. And it's all around that posture, that control, and also the ability to react. So something knocking you off balance, or being able to dodge something that you can detect and anticipate is coming, and then recover that balance without having an unintended, fall to the ground.
Oh, wow. That's really interesting. I'm just thinking about returning a tennis ball and the whole idea of split stepping, getting your balance so you could go either way. I mean, That's very important.
Absolutely.
So this is a whole new a whole new realm for me to think about, like what exercises are so helpful. And I'm thinking that now with COVID, people older people are probably even spending more time inside, and not even maybe taking the walks that they did in normal times.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's spending more time inside these days, and I think we've seen a huge increase in new members joining Bold during this time. Walking is part of it. There's also, I think, a real gap because a lot of gyms, community centers, and fitness studios are closed right now. And so people are looking, if you want to exercise, but you don't necessarily know what you should be doing, or you don't want to think about, designing your own exercise, it's really nice when you have a guided class where all you have to do is log on, press play, and, there's a class recommended for you. There's a real instructor who's an expert talking you through it, and it's an appropriate pace and an appropriate level. And a lot of the technology behind Bold is so that we can help you assess sort of where your balance, strength, and mobility is today. And then we really just try to show you programs that are going to feel right and feel appropriate and feel really safe and fun to do.
And this is all research based. It's not just, sounds like you've done so much work in really understanding what the problems are and how to address them. It's not just like, hey, exercise with me, it'll be fun.
Absolutely. All of our instructors have experience and certifications working with older adults and younger adults, but all of the programs that we recommend are rooted in research, and we're running our own research study with our medical advisor who's at Stanford. So that's really interesting too, because we are aware of all the work that's been done and now translating it to a digital format, making it even more accessible. So you don't have to live, within driving distance of a YMCA or senior center that offers this. You can be anywhere in the world. As long as you have internet connection, and you can take classes on your phone, your tablet, your computer. And that's, I think, one of the more beautiful and powerful things about the opportunity that technology has given us to reach people and to improve health and aging.
Hello, Zesties. I want to tell you about one of my all-time favorite exercise and stress reduction tools, which I am really relying on during this quarantine. But I've sung its praises for years. The benefits are seemingly endless. It's great for toning and strengthening muscles. It improves your lymph system, your metabolism. It helps with joint pain and balance. And it's even used by NASA astronauts because it's such an efficient way to exercise. And if you're older or you're worried about your balance, you can order a stabilizer bar to hang on to. I'm talking about my NEDAC Rebounder mini trampoline. I put on my music and I have my own dance party. Because for me, exercise needs to be fun and invigorating. Otherwise, I don't want to do it. Now is not the time for the philosophy of no pain, no gain, because we're in enough pain. This is a way to feel good and energized and have fun. It really does help mood as well. And I like that NEDAC is made in the USA and it is really solid. I've had mine for 15 years and it's still in great shape. The NEDAC Rebounder will help us get through this quarantine in better shape mentally and physically. And there's also a model that folds up if space is an issue. One of my clients puts it on her driveway and uses it while she's watching her kids during the quarantine. Anyway, I can't recommend NEDAC Rebounders enough. They are a worthwhile investment in your health and overall well-being, especially now. If you are interested in a mini trampoline, please don't buy a cheap one. Those can be actually dangerous, and it is really worth investing in a good quality one. And right now, if you use the coupon code just for Zestful Aging listeners, the code is Zestful. They are going to include a free cover for you. So go to needak.com. It's NEEDAK.com. And if you have any questions, you can contact me at zestfulaging.com. I really am their biggest fan. So what's the experience been like for you developing this? And it sounds like you also had to raise some capital for putting this together.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Lots of different jobs here, I'm thinking.
Yes, and I like to joke that it's not really a joke, but there's no better training for starting a startup than being a caregiver, because it's like, I think, managing, multitasking lots of different projects and people and objectives. I think one amazing thing about the experience of starting Bold is I actually started it with my life partner. And so he and I met a number of years back, and he realized the caregiving experience was so important to me, and he ended up moving in with me and my grandmother. And so it's been really fun and interesting to actually have our lives be so entwined. And I think we're a good balance. We have different strengths, and we make a good team in a lot of ways. But fundraising was, the typical experience of you have to talk to a lot of different types of individuals and investors. And I think for me, it was around finding individuals who really saw the mission and the opportunity around building something that doesn't really exist today, but feels like the future of how we can use technology to help us age better. And I don't mean exoskeletons or sensors in your home. I mean like getting information to individuals and making it personal and as effective as we can. And something for me, I think that may be slightly unusual is I really prioritized having a lot of female investors and women on our cap table, because there's a big inequity as far as the amount of equity held by women and held by men in Silicon Valley and venture-backed startups. And so I was very fortunate that we connected with some amazing women in the investing field as well.
What a lovely thing. So there's a lot of, this echoes a lot of what you personally value. It sounds like, caring for your grandmother, making sure people are preventing falls, doing this with your life partner, and everything sounds very intentional.
Yes, I would say it's been a pretty intentional process. And it's one that I think it's been the best experience of my life so far. So, and hopefully for many more years to come.
Would you have ever imagined that you were doing this when you were studying engineering at Princeton?
Not at all. I actually, prior to starting Bold and teaching fitness, I worked in the nonprofit space, and I was a program manager for renewable energy and transportation work. And so I'm a very big environmentalist. I thought that I would definitely, if I ever started a company, it would be a renewable energy company of some sort. And I think I had, maybe to this idea of intention, I had this moment of when I reflected around what I thought I was seeing or a need for in the world that I felt like others maybe hadn't realized or weren't working on in the same way. It was really, I think, informed by my relationship with my grandmother and this idea that the way we're all aging, and the way that we're going to age will be tremendously impacted by technology. And I think there's a real opportunity that hasn't existed before, because we didn't have individuals in their 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s with the same technology access to build something that starts to feel more like a community. It's, it doesn't have to be one person on their computer. We have a Facebook group. We have, we text with a lot of our members. Our team loves, sends out just educational tips and motivational texts. And so really also trying to find that fabric that connects us all and meets you where you are in your aging process.
Sort of a lovely factor.
Yeah.
So nice.
You could call it that.
Yeah, so nice, so nice. So what have been the challenges for you? It sounds like there's a lot that's really felt enriching and wonderful. What are the challenges? What have they been as you've been building this company?
Oh man, where do we start? I think, for every, I think, win and accomplishment, there's probably dozens more things that were challenges or didn't work. I mean, definitely the process of, fundraising, hiring, finding individuals who were, saw the vision. You hear a lot of people, frankly, say, like, I don't believe it. I don't believe older adults will ever like seniors, elderly, they don't use technology. And to me, that's pretty ageist. And in the same conversation, they might say, yeah, I was just texting with my 85-year-old mom the other day, and she would never, use an app or, and I think finding people who shared our vision was really rewarding once we got there, but sometimes hard.
So there were some obstacles in getting them to see what you were envisioning and what you knew to be true.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's exactly it.
I see. It sounds like a 24/7 job. And that it's very, there's the part about your relationship with your grandmother, how you want to help her, but then how you want to bring this to the world and to other people who are like your grandmother.
Yes, I think that it is a 24/7 job. And honestly, as somebody who practices mindful movement and yoga, I think that, it's similar, for anyone who's working in caregiving, which is a lot of individuals. It's finding time to take care of yourself, finding, making sure you're getting enough sleep, that I'm getting the movement and the support that I need. I think more than anything, learning to, advocate for myself and my needs sort of across all of these things that are deeply personal, but, everything is interconnected. And I think for me, to not be too cheesy, it's a little bit about finding balance in how you spend your time and spend your energy too. And I think I got very lucky that I've arrived at a place now. It's definitely has not been like that. There are a lot of sleepless nights and probably compromised immune systems, which
well, you're an entrepreneur. That comes with it.
Yeah. So
does your grandmother ever say, listen, I think you should add this, or this would be great for people, or, maybe not so much of that one?
Right. So my grandmother is now in fairly late stages of dementia, which has helped me find a lot of patience in my life, but is, what I actually get to share with her more than anything is I can do the exercises with her. And it's been great because it's actually helped her from having falls since that was initially happening for her. But she's, she has a tough time remembering what day it is, or sometimes even who I am. So
I see.
Yeah.
So that's not something that she's doing right now. For people who are listening and saying to themselves, yes, I know exercise is good for me, but I've been spending the last 2.5-3 months on the couch and I feel unmotivated. Could you talk a little bit about what would be the first step?
Sure. So actually on our website, we have classes that are free, 5-10 minutes. And I think that there's often this, our bodies were made to move, and it doesn't really matter at first how much movement you're getting. I mean, I think it's very easy to say, World Health Organization or the CDC recommends yada, yada, yada. But any type of movement, even if it's 5 minutes or 10 minutes, if it's, you can do a movement seated. And so I even like to do sort of chair exercises while I'm working to give my wrists a break, to move my ankles in a few circles, to do some cat-cows just to give my spine some movement. Neck, I think a lot of people are feeling a lot of stress. So you can do a guided meditation. And that's also really good for your body. And I think becoming able to cultivate that awareness of what you're feeling. And honestly, the nice thing about movement is you feel better like pretty quickly as you're doing it or right after. And it can be gentle, right? We're not talking about high intensity boot camps. It's all something that you can do at home. And we have the dance classes, we have some cardio classes, but, Tai Chi we're seeing a lot of people are finding the Tai Chi, really helpful right now because it's, there's guidance on breathing while moving, while, shifting balance and just cultivating awareness of your body. And I would just say, do what feels good. It's not about, you don't exercise because you hate your body. You exercise because you love your body.
Oh,
and
boy, do I love that quote. Yeah.
And so, yeah, just, I think
not
it's
a punishment for eating cookies.
No, not at all. It's, a way to relieve that headache or get, unstick your neck after a night of sleeping off.
Mm-hmm. What's the legacy that you want to leave, Amanda?
For me, I see Bold as an opportunity to really reshape the way we think about aging, the way we think about prevention in aging versus treatment of sick and frail. And so this idea of, starting a movement around aging boldly or exercising for our 100-year-old selves, it's, in some part long-term thinking, but a lot of it is like having that love for yourself as you age and knowing that no matter what age you are when you start that exercise program, and no matter what sort of circumstance or limitations or challenges you may find, there's so much power and beauty in aging. And I think there's actually a broader movement around embracing that. And I think Zestful Aging, I love this podcast, but you talk about, these amazing stories that are intergenerational. And I really want Bold to be play a large role in that type of movement and shift in the way we think about aging.
A cultural shift. That's so beautiful. So beautiful. And I know people are going to want to know where to find you. And I have always wanted to try Tai Chi, and it just seems like something I'd really like. And I just haven't. It just hasn't worked. Like there was a class, and then I couldn't make it, or it was canceled, whatever. So I want to go on your website and take a look at what that looks like, because I know the research, but it just looks like it would be a really lovely way to de-stress and to feel good. Yes.
So anyone listening can visit our website at www.agebold.com. To join, to create a membership and sign up is completely free. And you'll get access to a number of classes and then also some tools. We have some assessments. So if you are curious, how does my balance or strength stack up with somebody else in my same age group? We allow you to do that test and then see if you enter your age, how this tracks as average, sort of above average, or room for improvement. And then you can track that and see how your different exercise, activity might impact those results. And then we have premium memberships that start at $15 a month. And we have a code actually for any Zestful Aging listeners. They can use the code.
Oh, lovely. Tell me.
Zestful25, and they can get 25% off.
I love it. I love it. So what they would do is they'd go to agebold.com, and then there's a place that says, do you have any promo codes? And they'd put in Zestful25.
Exactly.
Oh, beautiful. I love the combination of the brainy part of you and then that soulful, like, I'm going to research this. It's going to be comprehensive. There's going to be science all over this. But this also, love you feel for obviously your grandmother, and this affinity you feel for people who are aging and dealing with balance issues. It's, I think about like firing on both lobes. You've really got it going.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think it's again, a muscle that has been built over time.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much, Amanda Rees. It was lovely to learn about balance, the importance of balance, the real concern about falls, why that's so important. And this is just super helpful. And I'm really looking forward to having the audience check it out. Thanks for your time today.
Yeah, thank you so much, Nicole. Great speaking with you. Stay well.
Well, I'm going to go right on Amanda Rees's website, theagebold.com. I've been thinking about doing Tai Chi for years and just never was convenient time. But now that we're in COVID and cutting down our interactions, I think it'd be a great time to start. And I'm really looking forward to it. Hope you try it out. Thank you so much for joining us on Zestful Aging. If you like the podcast, please share it with some of your friends. I love to hear from my listeners. Send me an email at NicoleChristina.com. It's no secret that everyone's feeling pretty restless and unsettled right now. Our lives are upside down and the future is feeling pretty uncertain. But if you're anything like me, organizing my stuff can help me feel a little calmer. It's something I can do to help me feel a little more in control and in charge of my own life. If you think decluttering could help you feel better and you could use a little assistance with that, check out the online course I've developed with professional organizer and designer Carrie Luderin. It's called Too Much Stuff. And Too Much Stuff is different from other courses or articles or guidance you may have used up. We give you clear steps to deal with the clutter and the tools to help you face the overwhelming feelings and the emotions that come up when we're going through our clutter. And a lot of those emotions are just feeling anxious or guilty or just basically flooded with a lot of different confusing feelings. The course is really practical. It's realistic. The lessons are short and punchy, and they're really manageable. We're not trying to set you up for some long exploratory, super in-depth, burdensome experience. We want something really helpful for you right now. We all need help with our anxiety. So being surrounded by more calm and less chaos can really help. So now's a good time to clear out the clutter so we can focus on what's really important in our lives. So find out more at zestfulaging.com. You'll see more about this under the web courses tab. If you have any questions, just shoot me an email at zestfulaging@gmail.com. Thanks so much. And stay tuned next week for another interview with a fascinating and inspiring guest.